Hi, welcome to an episode of Galaxy Gardens. I'm Greg, and today we're going to be picking some potatoes. So today we'll be harvesting some all blue potatoes in here and some pinto gold over there. And yeah, they should be, well, we'll find out how they are. We had one bed where we got a bunch of small ones. We got one bed where they were huge. Seems like in both cases we ended up with about the same amount of potatoes, but it was cool getting the big ones because they'll be good for like baked potatoes. But anyway, yeah, we'll check it out. So we got kind of a small amount of these all blue potatoes. We got a few big ones, like this one. This one's pretty big. This one's kind of a weird shape. There's another one that looks like Mickey Mouse in here somewhere. There's that one. I don't know where it went. But it'll be a decent amount anyway. And these ones are cool because they're blue. So there you have it. Off to the next bed. All right. Got some potatoes in here.
You spin around?
This one's looking a little bit more fruitful than the other one.
Oh, look at that.
You can see past all the dirt.
We'll clean it up.
Yeah. These are pretty cool looking potatoes.
This Pinto Gold variety is pretty cool. So it's like a soft red exterior with these yellow blotches. I think they're pretty groovy, so we'll go get the rest of them. We'll see how much we end up with. Now keep in mind we already harvested 2 beds of potatoes, the Adirondack Reds and the Baltic Rose. We've already processed the Adirondack Reds, so we'll show you the Baltic Rose before we head inside today.
So this is what we got from those 2 beds. Kind of a disappointing yield, I guess, but we did get a decent amount. Definitely got a few bigger ones. And like we said before, some of the ones that we picked earlier this week are huge. So, and so these ones here,
Pinto Gold.
Pinto Gold, thank you. They look really cool. There were a lot of them scattered all over the place, but they weren't that big. But we got a lot of small ones, so they'll be good for, you know, smashing up or putting into stew or anything like that. And there's plenty of bigger ones that we could set aside for, you know, baked potatoes or French fries or things like that.
As promised, here are the Baltic Rose potatoes. Noticeably larger than the Pinto Gold or All Blue. We did get about a similar harvest. This is about half a bucket, maybe a little over half a bucket. This is a, I don't know, 5-gallon bucket full of potatoes. We don't have a scale that's strong enough for potatoes, so we don't know how many pounds we got back. I think we started with 20, maybe. And we certainly did get back more than we started with. So if we like this Baltic Rose, that might be a red potato for next year. But our potato harvest is officially done. So now we can move on to some other stuff. I've decided to consolidate these. I think we could have had a better harvest if I mulched them heavier, but this is going to be plenty for us. We had a bit of a heat wave over the last almost month, at least 2 or 3 weeks. So our beans and our tomatoes and everything were really holding on to their fruit. It wasn't ripening, but now that that heat wave has broken, everything is coming in at once. So why don't we go get some beans and then some other things. So I'm going to be straight up. We did not take proper care of these new beds that we added in because we added so much so fast this year. But now we know what we can maintain. We kind of figured out what we're gonna do different next year to make it easier for us. but I can't believe we got any fennel. So much of it you can see behind me went to seed, and we still got a few to harvest for the actual like fennel bulbs, so that's great 'cause I love fennel. I like using it as seasoning. I think it's great when you cook it, so. Oh, this is getting heavy. Here is our Cowpea Patch. So you can see it's about ready to start harvesting. We already got a head start on it. You can see we have some dried pods here. This variety is not listed as a purple hulled one, but the pods did end up turning purple and crispy. You can see our beans in there right now. Now we still have some fresh beans coming in. You can see over here we have some green ones coming in next to our toothache plant. I'm going to turn this lovely red. Looks awesome. And then they turn purple and get crispy. So we're going to go in here. I'm going to find a couple more dried ones. I like these. They're pretty easy to pick. The ants like them too. There's ants everywhere. Anyways, so these two, you can hear they're nice and crispy. We just pull them off. It's easy as that. And we're just going to take the beans out inside, and we'll probably just have them out for a couple more days to dry, just for precautionary measures, and then we'll put it in a jar and keep it in the cabinet. I don't know how many we'll get, but I'm hoping enough to at least fill a jar. And then we have our Mayflower beans over here as well. We have a lot of these coming in, which I'm pretty excited for them to dry. You can see that. So hopefully we'll get a good size. I'm just leaving these till we get a bunch drying on the plants, and then we'll harvest that as well. For today, this is all the dried ones I've found. Fortunately, they haven't popped open and put beans everywhere. I found one that was like half open, but I kind of think the ants did that. So that looks pretty good. There's a whole bunch more in here. And if we're lucky on some of the plants that haven't been dying back, maybe because we picked them, maybe we'll get some more flowers and more beans. I'm just gonna let this go till everything dies. And there's a lot on here that should be dry or close to drying within the next week. So I'll come back probably next weekend and pick the rest of it. It's awesome. There's one of our open sesame flowers. It's very pretty. We've been starting to harvest sesame seeds and putting them in a paper bag to dry on side. If you follow us on Instagram, we've been getting updates about that. But if you don't, the short of it is they'll grow in these notches or nodes in between the leaves from the bottom up. So I've been noticing ones on the bottom for at least 1 or 2 weeks now, so I harvested those, checked them to make sure there were seeds, and we brought them inside to dry. The plants are going to keep producing, and even this one, you can see those there, those are about a third larger than they were when I harvested the other day, so hoping for a good sesame seed harvest this year. You can see our fennel flowering. It's pretty. Seems like it'll be a good year for grains and seeds. Hey, Greg just brought over some stuff. He was pruning our basil because they went to flower, and again our hot peppers. These are finally got fatales again. We have to remember to save these seeds. It's pretty good for a small harvest today. Hey Greg, what you got there?
Well, we picked up these peppers. They're called Caribbean hot. I've never heard of them before, but you know what that means. We've never heard of a pepper before. I have to eat it, and why not try to get my reaction in case it's actually ridiculously hot.
That's very appropriate. It's very appropriate for YouTube.
This might be terrible, and it might be like completely
It might be great.
It might be like a jalapeno, and then I'll be like chilling, but we'll see. All right, enough suspense.
Can I see the inside of the pepper? Hold on. Okay. So, what's the flavor?
It's nice. It's kind of I would compare it to a habanero. It's kind of like slow burning.
What if you ate one of the seeds?
Die more and...
Are you gonna die?
Oh no, it's not that bad. I'll eat one of the seeds right now.
So I've heard like conflicting opinions that the pith of the pepper is where the heat is, and the seeds of the pepper is where the heat is, and people are divided on that. What do you think?
I don't know. I didn't get many seeds in that bite, and it was certainly pretty hot. I'm not dying though.
Okay. Well, you like hot food too, so.
Right, yeah, this is hot. It's hotter than a jalapeno, I'll say that much.
It's like when I brought that oxtail to work, I let someone at work try it. I was like, it's not that spicy. And they came back and they're like, yo, that's like wicked spicy, dude.
Yeah, some people are wimps, but you know.
No.
This is good. This will be really good to cook with.
Good.
But yeah, not overly hot. Probably not going to eat.
You want to taste test the fatale again?
No, I'm good on that.
Some years ago, we were still living in the city, and I grew tequila sunrise, which is a sweet pepper, and fatales, which is a spicy pepper, but I didn't label them, and it was the first time I ever grew either of them. So I had Greg taste test the fatale, and he just like immediately died. That is one of the spiciest peppers that we have, and it's why we like to grow it every year. So I'm glad you're not dying today.
Nope, yeah, this one was pretty easy in comparison.
Yeah. It's hard to get a good shot on this side of the property, but our sorghum is officially ready to harvest, so we're gonna grab it all up and hang it to dry for the next week. Here we have the sorghum hanging up. That's not a fancy system at all. I just used some of that, tied them up into smaller bundles because we had some smaller pieces. And over here we have some more. Let's see. There we go. So we got a decent amount. I am pretty excited to try it. Oh, there's our keeper. We like to dry stuff over here sometimes. Over the winter, we actually dried our salt-cured egg yolks, so this is a good spot in the house. Well, it looks pretty cool. So we'll let it dry for like a week or two. I mean, they're already kind of dry. It's been dry out, and they're mature. But that's the instructions I found online. So we're gonna try it and then we'll process it and maybe store it in the freezer. I'll do a little bit more research on that. Here is the last bundle. And I'm realizing I should probably get some more hooks for other things. This looks really nice. I've been looking at it for at least 2-3 weeks now, waiting for them to get hard. So, well, that's gonna fall out. There we go. Love it. I'm just gonna go ahead and grab a couple more things and call it a day. One of those things are the Mayflower beans, which are just starting to be ready to harvest. For full disclosure, this video was shot over, I think, 3 days. So this is 3 separate days we've been getting all this stuff in, which is pretty good. But I'm gonna collect these Mayflower beans and I wanna show you what they look like. So here's an open one. You could see that it's a white bean with a bit of a red flecking on there. I believe as they dry, they'll darken up because when I planted these, they were like pink and brown. So we'll see what happens, but we have a few more of these drying pods in here, so I'm just gonna bring them in and finish drying them inside. Okay, this will about do it for today. I'm gonna bring this in and we'll process it and maybe have some of this fennel for dinner. Isn't that great? You know, when it's time to harvest in your garden, your plants sometimes will not look their best, but you'll still get some goodies like these cowpeas are a perfect example of that. I've probably talked about this in other videos, but August is so dry here and it's so hot, and I don't know if we're gonna get rain this week, but at least it's gonna be cooler. I think tomorrow it's supposed to be maybe in the 70s, which would be good for our tomatoes. I think our tomatoes will like that a lot, but we need to bring everything inside and I'm gonna go grab Greg. There you are from the ones that we harvested today. I'd say I should get the measuring cup out. I believe this is about a cup of beans. And there's more to harvest outside. And we have 3 other types of drying beans growing. So I'm hoping we'll at least get a few cups all together because we didn't grow that much of anything. We're just growing a little bit to try them and see what we like. You can see in here there's still a little bit green, so that's why we're gonna leave it out to dry. Those will shrink right up, and once it's ready to go, we're gonna put it in a jar, just put it in the cabinet. And all of this can go to compost, or if you want, you could use it as fire starter. I'm sure it would go up pretty fast. Here's the new raspberry trellis. Kind of low budget, but it works. Everything's up and cleared out the back here. And bumblebees are happy. So we're due for a lot of rain. I didn't want our canes to snap like they did last year, but they look really good. We should get a lot of raspberries this year. This is a rockin' double red, but it really just puts out fall berries, so maybe it wasn't labeled correctly. But you can see all the insects buzzing. It looks really happy. Over here, some more berries coming in.
All right, that's it for today. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll be back with another one next week.